I saw something very sad today, and I just wanted to do a quick video about it. And this is something I see all the time in Tasmania on the roads. Today I saw just nearby where I live, this mother pattymellen, which is a small kangaroo, a pattymellen. Like it's about half a metre high, tall, and her Joey, and they'd both been hit by a car. And a lot of the time I try to just, sort of focus on how I can educate, about different issues in relation to veganism and other issues. And then, I try to sort of select different topics that I can use. And while I was down passing by this sort of dead mother and her baby on the road, which I find very difficult driving by any animal who is dead on the road. It just seems very disrespectful, but I mean, there's just so many, and we live in a non-vegan world where people, it's just, roadkill. But these are sentient beings that she loved her baby, and obviously she was, either her baby got away from her and she was running after her or him, and that's what happened. This car comes along, and so many cars now, there's like 1 million or more animals, that in Tasmania that are killed on the roads every year. And if you want to see Tasmanian wildlife, just drive along the road, because there's plenty of dead animals. And there are things people could do to reduce that, or even stop it, but we don't care, because, well, farmers think, good, one less pattymellen and one less Joey, so they're not eating the grass in my cow fields. And then there's just people who think, well, there's plenty more where that came from. But then they'll be very speciesist and selective about other species. Like you'll have wildlife groups here, wildlife in quotes groups here, who won't look after an animal that they consider an introduced species. Or that's like birds. If you have occasionally we'll find a fledgling that has knocked themselves out on a window, and if they're the quote-unquote wrong species, then they're not interested in looking after them. Fortunately, there are wildlife carers here who will look after anybody who is hurt, thank goodness. But this is the nature of our speciesism. We have animals in the fields that are being bred to be killed. They're being fed up to be killed. They have young whom they love, just like that pattymellen who loved her Joey. And but really what I was really wanting to say about this is how difficult sometimes it is to be vegan, just because I'm constantly aware of the tremendous violence, the tremendous suffering, and it's all unnecessary that we are causing these sentient animals, and how we are so selective. We compartmentalize whom we think are worthwhile saving, whom we think are just roadkill in quotes, whom we think should be on our plates, whom we think are family members, and on it goes. And I sort of think to myself, when is there going to be a conscious sort of raising that all these animals are the same? They're all morally important. They all have the same sentience. There's not levels of sentience, and it really doesn't matter if we think some are cute and some are not. It doesn't matter at all. To them, this is their life. And I think that poor little Joey was just trying to, be independent, and then sort of took a wrong turn, and his or her mother tried to save her and him and get them back into their pouch, and they both were killed. It really affected me today, because when there's a woman who walks along the road that I do, and I run into her fairly regularly. She has a dog, and whom she takes for a walk every day very early, and I'm usually down there at the same time. We run into one another, and I found out this is just I hadn't seen her for a while, because I was probably walking at another time during summer when it's cooler, and it turned out that she's vegan as well. And we both were really upset about this little Joey that we saw, killed on the road, and the mother. And then we had to talk about how difficult it is sometimes, or often, to be vegan and just to see animal products everywhere and animal use everywhere, and people just completely oblivious to what we're doing. Or they're aware, but they just shove it to the back and don't want to think about it, and they just want to continue on and on and on and on, doing this awful, awful thing to sentient animals. And how difficult that is to sort of live in a beautiful place and have all this around you, the happy animal exploitation, in quotes, in the fields, and calves being taken away from their mothers in dairy calves and killed. And I implore people to please consider going vegan, because this is an insanity what we're doing. And we honestly can't say we want to have a peaceful world if we continue to do this. And we're doing it. It's not the corporation's fault. It's not the animal industry's fault. It's our fault. It's our fault if we're not vegan. It's our fault. So, how can we say that we want non-violence? How can we get upset about violence in the world, and we get upset when we hear about some animal being abused by somebody, and yet we're paying people to abuse animals and kill them? Seriously, it's an insanity, and it has to stop. And I really mean that. It is an insanity. The longer I'm vegan, I'll be vegan 17 years this year. And although I can see things changing, part of me also sees that things are slow. Also, I can see that there are people, no matter how much information is about, people don't want to do it. They just are too lazy, or they love their taste buds more than they love sentient life, or care, more than they love wanting to save the planet from the climate crisis that's a catastrophe that is coming. Although the planet will go on without us, but I'm just saying. And that still includes non-human animals, because they have had the misfortune of being born on this planet with this violent species that is us. This violent, greedy species. I just can't get over. I can't get over how sad sometimes I feel. And how I feel like this is just, I don't know. It just makes me despair. So please go vegan. Check out howtogovegan.org. That's my vegan resource in podcast form. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye for now.